Welcome to BetterBooks with Kathy Houston. This is our credit card section. Credit cards are reconciled very similar to our bank accounts. I want to show you some tips on how to balance your credit card account and also how to fix errors that you identify. Credit cards are reconciled very similar to your bank accounts. It's very important to reconcile your credit cards, especially if you have them linked with your software. Any accounts linked to automatically import your transactions are susceptible to duplicate imported transactions. For this reason, you must reconcile the credit card account every month. Most credit cards have a statement end date that is in the middle of the month, so your reconciliation report is not going to match your balance sheet end date. To check your credit card balances, you can pull your balance sheet by the credit card statement end date, or you can use the balance sheet date that we've been using for this training. To reiterate what I said earlier, your credit card statement is not going to have a month end date, so we have to check the balance using one of these methods. Your credit card statement has transactions that overlap month ending dates, so the easiest way to pull the statement that includes the balance sheet ending date. Example, if you're using a year-end balance sheet date, use the January credit card statement that contains December and January transactions. Pull the balance sheet for the credit card ending date in January and make sure it matches your credit card statement balance. So if the credit card statement here on the left ends in 1/26/21, you're going to pull the balance sheet with an ending date of 1/26/21. The balance on the credit card statement should match the balance on your balance sheet. Another way that you could do this is to pull the statement that includes the balance sheet ending date. Example, if you're using a year-end balance sheet date, use the January credit card statement that contains December and January's transactions. Start with the credit card statement beginning balance, add all charges through December 31st, subtract any payments made through December 31st, and this balance should match your balance sheet for December 31st. If you don't balance, it's one of two things. One, you have outstanding transactions that have not been reconciled. So you can look at your reconciliation report for uncleared transactions. These are probably duplications that need to be deleted, but we will look at these on the next slide. The second reason is that you could not be in balance is a date issue. You may have a transaction or two that has an incorrect date. We will also discuss this on the next two slides. Let's look at your reconciliation report for uncleared transactions. These are probably duplications that need to be deleted. Most of the time, you can compare to the cleared transactions to see if they're duplications. It is fine to delete credit card charges that are duplications. Just go to the credit card register and delete. But do not delete credit card payments that have not been researched. You cannot see by looking at the credit card register which credit card payments have been reconciled with the bank. So we have to look at the bank register to determine which duplicate transactions to delete. Let's look at that on the next slide. So looking at this example in the bank register, you can see that the uncleared payment has not been reconciled with the bank and can be deleted. But can you see how it's possible to delete a payment that has been reconciled by the bank? If you were to try and delete a transaction in your credit card register, most software will tell you that the transaction has been reconciled with your bank, but some software will not. So it's just better to be cautious and double check when it comes to credit card payments. If you have multiple credit cards, it's easy to post payments to the wrong card, so be cautious when deleting credit card payments. The last thing you want to do is delete a transaction that has been reconciled with your bank. So I hope this helps to save you some time in the future. Now the other reason that you could not be in balance is a date issue. You may have a transaction or two that has an incorrect date. go to your register and look for transactions past your statement end date and check that they're dated correctly. If we look at the unclear transactions on here, on this screen, we see that there's an incorrect date. This is probably a duplication, but think about if you reconciled this transaction. It would give you an incorrect balance for net income because it's not deducting this expense until 2025. So this is a great example of how really taking the time to examine your reconciliation detail is helpful in isolating potential issues now and in the future. The credit card reconciliation report is very similar to the bank reconciliation report and can be very useful in providing a list of potential problems. The more you use these reports, the easier it will be to identify errors. So congratulations on completing the credit card section.